Not the way you wanted things to go for the final game at home of the 2025 calendar year as the Philadelphia 76ers fall to the Brooklyn Nets 114-106. And folks, it wasn't even that close if you watched the basketball game. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers post-game show as we are with you live on the Xfinity Mobile hotline. Rich, Devon, Ethan, we're all with you, all of you in the chat. Have at it and vent. We said it. We wanted you here. You don't have work tomorrow. You're wrapping some presents maybe. You might as well hang with us and break it all down here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. A lot to get to as far as the unsung hero a little bit later. Temperature check in this one as well to see how Rich and I feel about things. Ethan as well and all of you. And player of the game, as we always do. We'll check in with Derek and see if he's available because of the post-game availability from the arena. And Rich, let's get to the main thing of this one tonight.
Devon, the main thing is burn the tape. That's just burn the tape. Throw it away. Get it out of here. I think we've talked after a lot of wins this year, after a lot of close losses this year, that the one thing you could say about this Sixers team, that with the exception of that Magic game and the NBA Cup, they bring it every single night where it's a close game and maybe they're flawed, but it's going to be close. They didn't bring it tonight, man. That was bad. That was not the Christmas present you're looking for. No. I know you're a big Seinfeld guy. I was thinking of Festivus the whole second half.
Got a lot of
problems with you people right now. Got a lot of problems with how the Sixers played tonight.
Yeah.
Look, I think we can include the caveats here, right? Where a stinker is going to happen for every single team in the NBA this season. Maybe not Oklahoma City, everybody else though. And for 99.9% of the teams. And the Sixers are not, as a 500-ish, slightly above 500-ish team, they are not immune from having a stinker. I think we should also say the Brooklyn Nets, while they're not a very good team, have been playing much better this month. They have the second best defense in the league this month. I saw Kirk Goldsberry's chart the other day of kind of the quadrants of who's playing well over the last 10 games. And their defense has been very legit. And I thought they defended. You saw why tonight. I thought they played great defense tonight. I think you can look.
And that was something that you mentioned in the pregame as well.
I think you can look at the three guys that the Sixers were without tonight. And those are real contributors, man. VJ Edgecombe and Quentin Grimes and Dominic Barlow. Those are guys who give you stuff on both ends of the floor pretty much every single night. I know Grimes can be up and down, but those guys can contribute in positive ways and close a lot of these games. So losing those guys to illness is bad. Okay, all of that said, that's a really bad loss. That's a really bad loss. You got to play better than that. You have Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George available for this game. And even with all the things that I mentioned, you should be able to overcome that and beat the Nets, who, I don't know, man, if they keep playing like this, Jordi Fernandez is going to ruin their tank for the second straight year, because they were excellent on defense tonight, and Michael Porter Jr. was great making shots. There's a lot that we can get into, but the Sixers, they just got locked up for the most part on offense. And there was a lot that went into that, and we can talk about it and we can have everybody in the chat vent about it as we talk about it. But yeah, just not a very good performance in a season where that's been rare. That's been rare, where the Sixers just didn't really show up, didn't have their legs, just got outplayed, out-toughed, out-hustled, all of those things. And I thought all of those things were true, at least for this one specific night.
So just for people, when we're in the office and we're sitting together, we're bouncing a lot of different things off. We're relatively quiet when we watch these games, even though we'll throw some things here and there, just some analysis between all of us when we're all sitting together. When Rich and I are at home, we make sure that we don't say anything because we want to bring it in cold. But one thing I wanted to text Rick was, man, is this a Tuesday night in December? If you ever seen a Tuesday night in December, man, that, against the Hornets or the Nets, one of those bad teams. But to your point, as it was playing out, though, I thought, all right, these happen. and they're not immune, as you pointed out. But it was a bad loss for
bad
where
loss.
We are right now for 28 games in the season, for where you're about to go on the road against this Nets team. Yes, Michael Porter Jr. can go off, but everybody else can pretty much be contained. And they got into a nice flow, a nice rhythm after they came back after being down, 8-0 or something like that. And they came back, they got into a nice run. Porter Jr. hits those 2 threes, has that other basket, gets that and one also. And they got into a nice flow where the Sixers allowed them to believe that they belonged in this game tonight. Now, you mentioned it, that Brooklyn has been playing much better basketball. So it was bound to happen that they were going to make their runs, but Philadelphia contributed to that. And part of it was that I think you made a great point about the 3 key pieces that they were out with: Grimes, Edgecombe, and Barlow. It's not just the points with those guys. The Sixers were lethargic tonight. They had no energy tonight, and I don't know why. I understand 2 of those in Edgecombe and Barlow bring it, and it's infectious. Maxey is one of those as well. But I know they mean a lot to this basketball team, but there was no reason why there was no energy level to this basketball team tonight. Was it, we're just playing the Brooklyn Nets and we can just walk out, roll the basketball out, and we can go win this basketball game? That's possible. Could be, but it shouldn't have been, knowing this was going to be the last home game and you were already down 3 key players that you had. So the points are one thing when it comes to VJ Edgecombe, and the up and down nature of Quentin Grimes with the way that he goes all over the place with what he does, right? He looks this good, he looks this bad. But they had no energy with this one, and those guys bring energy that is in fact infectious. Then you go to, as you watch the game, is Joel Embiid bringing things down by them trying to force feed him the basketball, where they slow things down too much? Because I thought that early on, it's fine. They typically do this where they try to get him going early on. But this is Tyrese Maxey's team. There's no reason to make sure that get him his touches. There are 12 minutes in the first quarter where you can get him going while you also set the tone of where this basketball game is going to go tonight. So for him to kind of defer, in my opinion, early on, and when he took one shot in that first quarter, and then you could see where he was trying to force himself and find his way because he did not have it after they tried to get Joel Embiid going there. And I thought that also played more of a big part than the fact that the energy was not there. Yes, but I just didn't understand, because I've seen Maxey play with Embiid and George before without some of those other players, and I saw a different Maxey. And tonight, I don't know why it seemed like he was deferring as much, and his energy level was going where he could not get a good flow going in this one against the Brooklyn Nets, because I didn't think defensively, Rich, they did anything all that complicated that he can't figure out that we've seen already this season. And that's where I would say the energy wasn't there overall, and I thought he deferred too much to Joel Embiid. Not that that's his fault, because they want to get Embiid the touches. He can't do that anymore because this is his basketball team, in my opinion.
Totally. And I think that's the most interesting part of the game, the last 2 minutes that you just talked about there. And that's that Tyrese Maxey, he takes the first shot of the game. He takes a terrible step back 3-pointer, which was a grenade at the end of the possession. Fine, whatever. Does not take a shot for the rest of his first quarter stint. I think he went out with like 2 minutes left. So 9 minutes, and he does not take a shot the rest of the first quarter. And it felt like Tyrese Maxey was, for the first time all season, out of rhythm, and he stayed out of rhythm, because he has had some first halves where he struggled before, but he's always turned it on in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter. And this was the game where he looked like kind of shook by the Nets defense in the second half. Like he just was passing up shots and drives and stuff like that. And it started with, I think, the fact that he didn't get those shots. Now, so a couple things on that first quarter. I thought there were a few possessions where Joel Embiid and Paul George did not find Tyrese Maxey. It's just like the ball's got to find him a little bit easier. I think there's let's go through all of the reasons why Tyrese Maxey took one shot in the first quarter. Number one was that there were a few possessions where I thought they just missed him, and they need to, the ball has to continue to find him. Number two, I thought the Nets switched a lot on the perimeter and really took away the Sixers off-ball actions, and some of those were Tyrese Maxey just couldn't get the ball. Number three, Maxey got off the ball a few times as well. And I don't even think these were bad decisions where, he gets a switch and he's on the left wing and they are shrinking the floor with a defender helping at the nail. He's swinging that thing over to Eric Gordon and Jared McCain, and they're going one-on-one and they're getting okay shots. Sure. But you do think Tyrese, let's go. You need to put your impact more on the game. Yeah. And he never got in a rhythm. Even when he got some open shots in the second half, he did spring open for a few open ones as the game went on. He couldn't make them. And it just felt like that was a matter of him not being in good rhythm. And that starts with that first quarter. So, I think the debate that's going on in the chat right now, and one that I think is interesting,
I see it.
and I don't know what exactly. We don't know what the right answer is that, look, man, I thought Joel Embiid in the first half physically looked pretty awesome. I thought he was clearly their guy who, against the switching smaller team, the Nets didn't really have much of an answer for him in the first half. And frankly, we'll get to his injury in a little bit.
Yep.
When we talk about it being one of those nights, the fact that he's okay is great. But for this game, that injury completely messed with him, because it basically took him out of the whole third quarter, where it's the answer was going to have to be Joel establishing himself more and more. They're down 6 at halftime. Well, he doesn't get a chance to. He gets hurt 1 minute into the third quarter, comes back later, loses his rhythm, all of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, the question is going to be, right, now that you have Joel and PG and Maxey all available, how do you find that right balance of what the offense looks like? And, I think, it's funny. I remember the chat was popping off after that Lakers game a few weeks ago, where Joel, I thought, just missed shots in that game. I think tonight, when you look at Maxey's totals, I think there's got to be a discussion with the Sixers where you need to do a better job of getting Tyrese Maxey open. And as Ethan just showed the graphic, Joel had a pretty efficient night. You look at the plus minus, he wasn't the problem. Finding that balance between the run and gun team with Maxey and VJ and Grimes and those guys going up and down the court, and the Joel team, that's going to have to be something that they're going to have to find a balance. So, So we'll see. I mean, that was clearly noticeable from the first quarter that Tyrese was not involved and he never got re-established in the game. And look, man, when Tyrese Maxey shoots 3 of 14 from the field, you're going to lose to anybody. The Sixers, they're not good enough. They're capable of losing to anybody. So it was certainly noticeable. What did you think was the biggest issue with sort of their approach, especially early on when it came to Maxey?
Yeah, when you bring up the defense and what the Nets were doing with the switching, they have some length. Yes, they do. I've seen them also play against that team a number of times and destroy that basketball team. So Jordi Fernandez has been this coach for the last 2 seasons, and he does some nice things like what they do. Tyrese Maxey can figure that out. Was he aggressive? No, he was not. And we just laid everything out. So again, I thought that them trying to get Joel Embiid going early, which they typically do, is fine. But you also have to find your way of also getting going. And we know that Nick Nurse doesn't call a lot of the plays. He lets Tyrese Maxey figure things out as the point guard, call the plays, figure some things out. Nurse will throw some things out there also from the sideline. But I just thought that somewhere in there in that first quarter, somehow it got lost of continue to get him the basketball to feed Embiid to get going. And he had a nice game, as we just talked about, 27. Nobody said he didn't have a nice game. We were talking about how him having that nice game and the playmaking that we normally see from those two, something was off. Could it have been just simply Tyrese Maxey had an off night? Yeah, could have been. Yeah. But you also have seen enough of Tyrese Maxey body language-wise to know that he finds a way to assert himself to get going in the game. So when he does get the basketball, Rich, because I've messaged in the chat there with 3 times. I'm trying to see what his name is, as I said, the Steelers fan that's in the chat. We love these back and forths with everybody. We're all family. Merry Christmas. 3 times, 3257 said it's his dang team. No way it's Embiid's fault. Blame Maxey for not being aggressive. And 3 times had some other things to say there. So I asked, who was he? Was he referring to me and you as being irrational Embiid haters? Because we're not. We're just looking at the game that we just saw and saw how things played out, where he had the 27. Tyrese went 3 for 14 with 13 points. And Maxey was not aggressive enough. Was it a result of what was not happening early for Maxey to get the ball back, to your point of getting him into a groove? Paul George also had a nice first quarter where Maxey did not. They were in it. They were only down 6 points at the half as well. So with all of that, Tyrese Maxey needs to be aggressive. We said that from the very top. That's not taking anything off of him, but it's also of figuring out how to spread out the wealth, like you mentioned, Rich, early, to make sure that no one gets lost. If they're going to force feed Joel Embiid and get him going, you also have to find a way, as you pointed out, where there were moments in the first half where George and Embiid did not get the ball back to Tyrese Maxey. I'll go to another one where he shot a 3-pointer. He was already out of rhythm at this point. Now, we've seen him turn it up in the third or fourth quarters and help bring them home, but he caught one ball behind a 3-point line, and it was front rim. And then he shot another one that was basically an air ball, because at this point, he was already out of rhythm. I'm not making an excuse for him. I'm just saying, watching, playing, whatever. You guys play basketball. You know that if you don't touch the rock enough, what's going to happen? Eventually, you're just going to not have it on those next few possessions where you take a shot that's a normal, good shot for you that doesn't go in. Yes, he needs to assert himself and be a little more demonstrative to them and say, hey, I got this one. Doesn't have to be all crazy and start waving his hands and cursing guys out. It's just, hey, I need to get going. Let me get a couple of these here as we go down the floor. I have a pretty good mismatch. Joel did do what Joel does. Hey, come back and get the basketball and do your thing. Was he already out of rhythm? I don't know. But what I do know is the ball was going to Embiid a lot early, in my opinion, that forced him to get his looks. The game kind of slowed down to me. And it wasn't the fast pace of the game that we've seen from this basketball team, even when Edgecombe was out, even when Barlow was sitting down with all that time out, and even when Quentin Grimes wasn't available either. That's where I say that it's on both of them. Neither are immune to it, because if Joel Embiid is still that leader that we talked about as part of one of the leaders of this basketball team, even though it's Tyrese Maxey's, as we've handed him the reins, they both have to figure some things out. They played together long enough. Now, this is not the end of the season. It's not the end of the world. Everybody can be criticized for how this one went, because this was an ugly loss. This goes on all of them. There were plays that Embiid made that I thought, you should have passed it right there. This one just does not look good. And that's how this one went. So, look, we're going to have some spirited debates. It's going to be fun. We're going to do this when they win. They needed to figure out, as the 3 leaders of this team tonight, when you're missing so many key contributors to this basketball team, to find a way to bring this home. And Tyrese Maxey is also a part of that.
I mean, look, like Joel took 13 shots tonight, and Maxey ended up taking 14. So, I don't think this is like as black and white as like Joel was hogging the ball and Embiid centric.
Absolutely not.
Not just that. I mean, it's clear that Tyrese was not in a rhythm and the ball didn't find him. And that probably was a little bit of a contributing factor, but it's not everything. And look, I mean, they lost the game because Tyrese Maxey shoots 3 of 14 from the field.
Yep.
And Jared McCain shot 3 of 11 from the field, but 2 of those were in complete garbage time. And their small guards got completely swallowed up by Brooklyn's wings. Terrence Mann did an awesome job on Maxey. A bunch of their other guys did a great job on McCain as well. Yeah. So it's like, look, the Sixers, I believe, Devon, this is the 3rd game that they have played with Paul George, Joel Embiid, and Tyrese Maxey. They're 0 for 3 in those games, and that's got to get better. And I don't think there's any one specific reason for that, but that's a disappointing performance, regardless of where the blame exactly goes. I think it's just the idea of, you would expect those 3 guys and the infrastructure that you have and the talent and just the ability to make it work with whoever else is around you. It should be better than what it was in this game. I agree. Because you have those 3 guys, like, I'm sorry, you should be able to get a functional offense that is not shooting, what they shoot, from the game. 41% from the field, 26% from three. That's about as bad as you can shoot overall. You would wish you would be able to do better than that. And that's, look, this season, we talked about it, how it's been pretty good so far, but there have been some bumps in the road. And this is just another thing that these Sixers are going to have to find out. When those three guys all share the court together, what is the right balance? How do you keep Tyrese going at this MVP level? And look, the idea that it can't happen, what do you mean? Tyrese Maxey was an all-star running the two-man game with Joel Embiid a couple of years ago. Of course it can happen, but it did not happen tonight, and you cannot have too many other games for tonight. I'm sure we will forgive these guys in a couple days, but that really stunk. No more of that.
No, that was ugly. Nice debate. We're going to continue this debate. That was the main thing. Flush it down the toilet, but we are going to talk about it for the next 40 minutes here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. Sixers lose 114-106. They are now on the season 16-12. The Brooklyn Nets 9-19 on the campaign. Nice win for them over the Philadelphia 76ers. When we come back, keep the spirit of debate going, everybody in the chat. This is fun to watch. It's nice to talk about, because when we get to April, maybe this won't matter at all, and we're still talking about, hey, something that made it better for them. Rich just said, burn the tape anyway, so it doesn't even exist after tonight. All right, when we get back, we'll get to the Togo unsung hero. We'll pick somebody out. I have one person in mind. I haven't told Rich who it is yet, or Ethan. We'll see if he agrees. We'll see if all of you agrees. We're breaking it all down. Sixers fall 114-106. Final home game of the 2025 calendar year. We'll discuss more when we get back right here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. Well, it's never ordinary at Bet365, and in the association, you get $10 when you place a $10 bet, and it's fantastic with the holiday hot streak that Bet365 has going on right now for you. They're giving out gifts all year long, of course, when you win, but even now, you get the gifts. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be one of the 90 million users worldwide to partake in this, and you have live in-game betting. But with this, you have to place a same-game parlay of 3 legs or more. If you're a new customer, you want to get in, you place bonus bets of $100. You deposit $10, you get $5 back in there, and you make sure that you get $150 in bonus bets for you right there at Bet365. Win or lose, no worries. Win or lose. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The other day, I was over at Derek Bodner's place. He was having a Christmas party, and he had some basketball on, but his setup, it was a total mess. Lagging, buffering, and switching between apps trying to find the game. He claimed he was a big fan, but everybody at that holiday gathering felt like they were fan-fished. See, if you call yourself a basketball fan, you gotta have Xfinity. It's the ultimate sports destination. I can find the best games and my favorite teams all there in one place, and the way that I watch, it's next level. It's the perfect fan flex. I've got all the action right there in my living room, plus Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K, so clear that it feels like I'm in the arena. And sometimes I've even got 4 games going at once, because why not? And on top of that, I get real-time notifications and live stats right there on my TV. It's the best seat in the house every time. So next game day, make sure that big fan isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers postgame show presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. Chat is fun. Chat is lively right now.
Chat is lively right now.
Chat is really lively right now. All right, let's get to the unsung hero of the night, the Togo unsung hero of the night. Make sure you check out Togo, the leader in operations outsourcing. All right, I was going to go with this one, and I wanted to see what you thought there, Rich. And that is, we didn't even mention him. We mentioned him, I think, once in passing because he was going to be part of the rotation tonight overall. And that is Eric Gordon. Rich.
Yeah,
12
I think so.
points.
That's got to be the guy, Devon.
3 for 6 from 3. What do you think?
Well, considering he was the only guy who had made a 3 through 3 quarters, I think it was Gordon. They were 3 of 19, I think, at one point, with 2 Gordon makes and 1 Joel make. I think, yeah, I mean, he actually made a couple of threes where they played the 2 old guys, and it's funny. I was like, man, when they played the two old guys, and it's funny, our Discord, I think they called it the Oregon Trail lineup. They had a bunch of other jokes where they play Lowry and Gordon at the same time, which is something that maybe a lot of Sixers fans hoped we were past. But hey, like, look, when three guys are sick and you have Kelly Oubre and Trendon Watford also out as well, desperate times call for desperate measures. And Kyle Lowry gets 2 assists to Eric Gordon on the left wing. It's basically the only thing that either of those guys can do. For Kyle Lowry, that's pass the basketball and make the smart play when the Sixers have an advantage. And there was a play where Paul George got doubled and Kyle Lowry 4-on-3. Okay, yeah, he's going to make the right pass in a 4-on-3 situation. And then Eric Gordon on the left wing, like he's going to be making those threes when he's 60 years old at the
him
and
Jamal Crawford in LA Fitness somewhere meeting up, knocking down threes from half court in those gyms.
And that's why, like, Eric Gordon, you would hope that he does not have to play too much the rest of the year. But the idea, if you have 4 other guys who are doing their job and just have Eric Gordon on the wing, able to shoot it, and you tell him, hey, if you're wide open, let that thing fly. He shoots them from very deep. Yeah, I think Eric Gordon is the right answer for that too. He had a nice drive with his left hand as well. I hope we don't see too much of the old guy lineup moving forward, but it's not like why the Sixers lost tonight. And Gordon actually did some pretty nice things out there. So
we haven't seen him for like 2 weeks. Comes in and drops 12, his 3 threes. Like you said, he's going to be doing that forever. It's funny because PHLY guy says it's not Bona, and then the chat start going in on Bona. So we all agree there. Bona 4 points, 5 fouls in his minutes. It's not Bona tonight. It's not Bona tonight. No,
that was interesting. We'll talk about the 2 big lineup because it was. I mean, Bona got some extended run, but on the subject of Eric Gordon, one last thing I'd like to say. I mean, he's probably feeling pretty good. This is 1 year removed for him going to the dentist and not coming back for 2.5 weeks after that was over.
Wasn't it around this time too?
It was
Christmas. Yeah.
The difference was they needed Eric Gordon to play in the rotation last year, and this year it's like, okay, he'll play if 3 guys get sick all of a sudden, and you're also down 2 other guys who play in the rotation as well. So Eric Gordon, nice game tonight. Good to see him making shots, and him and Lowry getting a little bit of run in the second quarter. Wasn't a disaster. Good for them.
All right, our buddy Jack Reacher says in the chat, Lowry can't hoop anymore. Jack Reacher, make sure you let us know when Jack Reacher 3 comes out. We want cameos in there. We can be the podcasters in the movie as they try to figure out what the heck is going on with Tom Cruise.
By the way, we know Lowry can't hoop anymore, but at some point,
so I was about to ask you, what did you think of the game? Exactly. Right.
Look, when you're down all of these guys and you're trying to steal 4 or 5 minutes in the second quarter, it's fine. Throw him in the game, see if he does some positive things.
He just needed an extra ball handler. That's all.
They were up +3 in his minutes. It's fine. Like, again, it's not something you want to see when they're even a little bit close to full strength, but they're not even a little bit close to full strength tonight. Those minutes were fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Mello, my man in the chat, Mello 3 Point says Gordon was the best guard tonight.
Well, I mean, probably, but in a limited role. He was the only guard that was able to play his role to a T, which is just be able to make open shots. But I mean, Devon, I was looking for the whole, to Miller's point, I was looking at the Sixers' woeful shooting stats early in the fourth quarter, late in the third quarter, and it's like, well, Eric Gordon's having a good night. Joel's making shots. That's about it, though. Nobody else is playing well. So I think that is a good choice for the unsung hero.
Yeah, that we had to give it to him. Eric Gordon's not going to get many opportunities for this. It would have been nice if it was in a win and they won 115 to 114, but they didn't. Instead, he knocks down three-pointers in a loss, contributed 12 points. He wasn't bad in his minutes. He had the old man drive that we've seen him do since he was 17. Still able to do that drive. He's just not dunking on people anymore when he does that. Eric Gordon, our Togo unsung hero, the leader in operations outsourcing. Let Togo handle the work that gets in the way of your work. You call the plays, we execute at Togo. So Eric Gordon getting the nod there tonight. All right, when we come back, we're going to take this next break. When we come back, we got to get to a temperature check because I think it talks about a little more about players we are going to see regularly in the rotation, and they had a terrible night. It's probably more than one. We talked about one for sure. We mentioned the other. We could probably just combine them both, and we'll do that when we get back. It's the Sixers postgame show. Brooklyn 114, Sixers 106. Bad loss. We're talking about it right here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. Let me tell you about a local business that's been helping Philly homeowners and businesses stay pest-free. That's Evans Pest Control. This isn't some giant national chain. They are a family-owned, community-focused pest control company right here in the Philly area, and they've been earning the trust of our neighbors for years. And with the holidays around, I've said this to you before when talking about Evans Pest Control, they have your back because there will be a lot of crumbs, a lot of families, the little ones, the adults that don't clean up behind themselves. It's all there for you that you have to clean up, and you might miss a crumb here or there, and you don't want any uninvited guests. So with that, they know how to show up whenever, not the unwanted pests. I'm talking about the family and doing their part. So make sure that you get in with Evans Pest Control. So if you see signs of pets or just want to prevent them before they start, reach out to Evans Pest Control. Visit evanspestmgmt.com to schedule your free consultation. That's Evans Pest Control at evanspestmgmt.com.
You have that leaky faucet that you've been ignoring since the summer, or maybe your heater's acting up now that it's finally getting cold. Well, Ace Hardware Home Services has the pro for that. They're not just the helpful hardware folks, they're also the helpful home service and repair folks. From furnaces and boilers to electrical and plumbing, they've got the trusted pros to keep your home cozy all season long. They're bringing helpful home, the helpful that you love, from the store now to your front door, from Philly to the Jersey Shore. And when the temperatures drop, having your heat running strong isn't just nice, it's a must. So let Ace Hardware Home Services get it done right the first time. And guys, whenever they get ready for the next job, they remember what to bring. They bring experience, they bring understanding, they bring helpful free estimates on equipment installation and replacement with trusted advisors and options that are best suited for your home. So visit Ace Hardware Home Services at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project.
Welcome back here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show, presented by Bet365. Rich just talked about it there in his read. Fantastic read as always. So now we got to go ahead and do that. You know, just kind of prompted us up right there for the Ace Hardware temperature check tonight, where we got to discuss some of our normal rotational guys that did not have themselves a night. So let me tell you, heating up, cooling off with Ace Hardware. We're going to say cooling off with Ace Hardware temperature check. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com. Combined tonight, Rich, 6 for 25 from the field, 1 for 8 from 3. They did have 12 rebounds and 6 assists, but they also turned the ball over 6 times tonight, and that would be the backcourt of Jared McCain and Tyrese Maxey cooling off big time tonight.
So let's start with Maxey, because we've already talked about him. He does need to figure out the right balance with Embiid on the court and getting in. I mean, honestly, man, I wish they just spammed pick and roll with him and Joel. And I think the ball would have ended up in Joel's hands more because the Nets were trapping Tyrese, but they were getting good shots out of that. Like that was the one guy that, against the switching defense, Joel is the one guy that messes everything up, because if you switch off of him, he had a bucket where he posted up, I think it was Porter or somebody else. He had another bucket tonight where he had a small on him and Clowney. Like he is the one guy who screws that up. And I think Tyrese needs to find that balance. We already talked about that for the first half hour.
Sure.
That's fine. And Tyrese shooting 3 of 14 and not being able to really generate any sort of efficient offense against the Nets that's a huge reason the Sixers lost. I mean, he's been so consistent in every game so far this season. So for him to have that level of stinker where he's just that uninvolved it's kind of shocking. He had a couple of those missed shots. I will give him credit. Andre Drummond cleaned them up for buckets in the third quarter. That's Tyrese Maxey creating the shot or whatever. So maybe his stats should have been a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, that's like that's a huge reason the Sixers lost. And that's okay, because that's the first time it's happened all season. And we're a third of the way through the season. If he does that 3 more times the rest of the year, well, guess what? He's going to be on first team all NBA, because he has just been that consistent. The guy who worries me more, though, is Jared McCain, because Tyrese Maxey, that's not going to happen that much often. Like, that's just, it was so rare for him to get completely taken out of the game. Man, Jared McCain, after a lot of these games, there's people complaining about, why is Nick Nurse not playing Jared McCain more? Well, Jared McCain played a lot tonight because there really was nobody else there, right? You got Quentin Grimes and you got VJ Edgecombe out. He got the start and he got to play a bunch of minutes, and he just struggled, man. Like all of the issues all of the issues on defense are going to be there literally every time he plays. And on offense, he's just not creating any sort of burst, man. He had he had an okay drive in the first half where he went in transition. He bullied, I forget who it was, one of the Nets guards going to the basket.
I think it was Saraf.
Well, great, because that was the only bucket he scored when the game actually mattered. And like the fact that if Jared McCain is not a good offensive player, he's not really helping you, man. Like he's not helping you. And he looks small. He looks like he's struggling. People are saying, oh, he's just missing shots. No, he's not generating good shots. Like he's missing his open threes, which is a problem because he's a 3-point shooter and needs to make those shots. But he also is struggling inside the arc to generate good looks. And that's been a problem the entire season. I'm not giving up on Jared McCain because I think he's got a lot of talent. And as we saw last year, when it all clicks, he really can be an interesting offensive player who both helps you with the ball, but also without the ball, which is very valuable. But he stunk tonight. Like, let's not sugarcoat it. And he has stunk for a lot of this season, and he's got to play better. And I hope Nurse does not give up on him, because I still think there is a decent player. Like I see a lot of people on Twitter saying, is this just going to be a red shirt year for McCain? And I understand the feeling on that, because nothing really has clicked for him so far this year. There still is 2/3 of the season left. And I hope, whether it's McCain getting healthier, the Sixers finding the right spots for him, he is able to carve out a role in this rotation. I'm not giving up, but we need to be honest about what we're seeing right now. And it's not very good.
No, it wasn't. And this is part of the reason. Look, they were down guards, so you needed both Gordon and Lowry out there. This is why you see where someone you can trust to have run the offense, even at the age of 40 with Kyle Lowry, where he comes out there for the minutes, he can dribble and set things up. He can't do much else. He can't really generate other things like you would expect from Jared McCain, but Kyle Lowry can still run an offense and locate certain things that needs to be happening, where passes need to go out there on the floor. And Jared McCain just could not do that tonight. This is where, as you pointed out, you could see where some of the questions come in for Nick Nurse. Why is he not playing longer? He had issues tonight against that defense where when Maxey was sitting down, he could not dribble the basketball again all that well. And while Maxey was the one with the 4 turnovers and McCain was the one with the 2, you could see where he struggled, though, to get into the action and get them into the action. And then when he did have one-on-one opportunities to break down his defender, he couldn't. Yes, length is there and all, and he's still rounding back into form from what we saw a season ago. Last season, he was doing that against anybody. And so that partially with the confidence, the fact that he's still fighting through all of that to get back to the player. We saw the other player 2 games in a row where he looked really good, and maybe that role was different. He saw different defensive people tonight because there was no VJ Edgecombe. There was no Quentin Grimes. So now they're going to step up in defensive competition there, where you're going to have to find a way to be creative and get around them and make your shots. And he could not do that tonight, and that is part of the problem. So he's a rotational guard, certainly. He had issues tonight. And you're going to play better teams than the Brooklyn Nets, where he may have to be thrust into that type of role. And we have to see something much, much better. And we did not see that at all from Jared McCain tonight. And you would think, too, still, the gravity of the other 3, it's going to get you opportunities where you're one-on-one against those players. Not great defenders. I'll say Terrence Mann is a tough defender. He's physical, has the size there. Egor is tall, but, not the greatest defender. You could still – and I mentioned one of the 5 point guards that they had. I said Saraf, it was Traore. He bullied him that one time. And as you said, that's the only meaningful one that we saw there in the guts of the game when it mattered. So he has to find a way. And look, maybe it is just the fact that he can't get it going and he's still fighting through it to get it going consistently. This was a bad one tonight where they gave him an opportunity to showcase in a larger role, and he did not come through.
And I mean, I understand that they were they won his minutes over the weekend. Those were better games because he was on the floor in the closing lineup. He still wasn't scoring. Like, he shot 4 of 11 and 3 of 10. Like, this guy's a scorer, man. Like, this guy's at his best, he's going to put up points in a hurry. And I understand he has a decent floor game when things are going well. But yeah, he has to play better. He wasn't the only reason they lost tonight, because I thought a lot of these guys struggled from the field. But yeah, I have concerns particularly about how he handles length and his ability to get quality shots inside the arc. And, last year it felt like he was making all of those threes. So teams had to play out on him, and he had a little bit more burst. And then, then he could get crafty inside the arc, whether that was with the mid-range game or using his body around the rim. And we haven't seen a lot of that. You see like a lot of like rushed, floater type attempts, and they haven't really gone in. Then he's got to play better. But look, it's a long season, but look, part of the reason he's not getting minutes is that when he gets the opportunity in tonight's game, he's given the opportunity. You got to show something. And like a lot of these games, he has not shown a ton. And I hope that changes. But right now, we do need to call a spade a spade. He's struggling.
Yep, absolutely. So that's our temperature check, everybody. The backcourt, of course, the two of them, but mainly Jared McCain having a real tough night in a game where he had 40 minutes of action, and it wasn't his night tonight. So Jared McCain, Tyrese Maxey collectively cooling off. Really, Jared McCain needs to heat up once again. That's our Ace Hardware temperature check. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. Final break for us, and when we come back, we'll break down a few of the other players in this one, and then we'll also finally get to the 2025 calendar year, some of the more memorable things that come to mind for the Sixers, for Rich and myself, and all of you. We'll do that when we get back. Final break right here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. Time to tell you about our good people from Parks Casino, and specifically the Excite Center at Parks Casino. One of the many things that I love about my casino of choice is the great Excite Center. Parks Casino is Pennsylvania's #1 casino and is close to Philadelphia, located in Bensalem. All you have to do is take the street exit off of I-95 and the PA Turnpike, and boom, you're right there. The Excite Center is the state-of-the-art entertainment venue located inside Parks Casino, named one of the best casinos to see the country's best comedians and music headliners. I've got my eye on, as I'm going to reach out to the people at Parks Casino, checking out the good man Tracy Morgan in March at Parks Casino at the Excite Center. All you have to do is check out the schedule at visitparkscasino.com to buy tickets for all the shows, see everything that's playing there at Parks Casino. Maybe I'll see you there for Tracy Morgan. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You must be 21 and over. Gambling problem, you don't want that. Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Philly sports fans, listen up. It is the season of gifting, and if you're looking for something truly unforgettable this year, I've got the perfect idea for you. You've got to check out the incredible work from Philadelphia sports artist Jordan Spector over at SpectorSportsArt.com. I personally own one of Jordan's pieces myself, and trust me, these aren't just the posters you hang on the wall. These are museum-level artworks of the greatest moments and icons in Philly sports history. And guys, Jordan's collections, they come in prints, canvases, and even athlete partner trading cards. He's done it with Brian Dawkins. He's done it with BG. And get this, one of the newest cards actually includes a piece of Brandon Graham's real worn jersey from that matchup in New Orleans. Remember? The one against the Chiefs. It doesn't get more authentic than that. So if you've got a diehard sports fan in your life, or you just want to treat yourself, this is the kind of gift that they'll talk about forever. Head on over to SpectorSportsArt.com. That's SpectorSportsArt.com, and grab something epic for the Philly fan in your life.
And we're back here on the PHLY Sixers post-game show. Sixers fall 114-106. We're presented by Bet365. make sure you hit the like button while you're in there, everybody. We appreciate it. Hit the like button, like and subscribe. We don't have the foam finger and all that stuff, but hit the like button. We really appreciate it when you do. And it's really important while you're all with the family over the holidays here, right? Turn us on. You don't want to watch the terrible football games going on because all the backup quarterbacks, right, Rich? Just terrible. Too many backup quarterbacks. You don't want to watch
a lot
that.
of backup QBs. Yeah.
Just turn us on. Turn us on. I know you're going to have the NBA games on. I will too, but I'm also, make sure you turn us on and spread the word. Like and subscribe. Spread the word. Tell a friend to tell another friend to tell another friend that we're here. And we really appreciate all of your support here on the PHLY Sixers show and the network overall. We really, really appreciate it. All right, let's get to the super chats first, Rich, so we can get those in here from the team. Davon, a.k.a. Schoolboy Beats, says Embiid-centric ball isn't a winning formula anymore.
Yeah, and I think it's a trickier calculus than that because, I think Joel Embiid taking 13 shots and what do you take, 12 free throws in tonight's game as well? Mm-hmm. I don't know. He was very efficient with those possessions, and Tyrese Maxey struggled. I don't want to take Maxey completely off the hook, but yeah, there is a balance that needs to be found, and they aren't quite there yet. I mean, they certainly weren't there tonight. They're going to have to figure it out. I have confidence they'll get there. They'll get there. The idea that Joel just wants to hoard all of the shots and is just playing at the nail. No, man, he's looking for most of the season. I felt like he has been looking for people in dribble handoff actions.
Absolutely.
The difference is he can shoot and he still does have a lot of advantages as well. But yeah, tonight's game, Maxey taking one shot in the first quarter, that's not enough. And that was a mistake. I said burn the tape in the first segment, but maybe Nick Nurse and the coaching staff and Maxey, maybe watch the tape and figure okay, let's figure out a way to get more shots. This was a little bit of a failure of execution in tonight's game. I have confidence that Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, and the Sixers, they'll figure it out. They will find that right balance, but they weren't there tonight for sure, as Davon said.
Davon continues. Embiid misses several games. They force feed him for his confidence. In my opinion, league isn't headed in that direction, and he's not the automatic source anymore. So, you kind of answered all of that earlier when we discussed it, and just now when you laid that out. Davon, appreciate it as always. Thank you so much for those super chats. Always appreciate it. All right. Anybody else that kind of stood out to you? Drummond double was good as usual, and Paul George was good. Let's get to the player of the game. Paul George, he was the player of the game tonight, finishing the night. We go all this time and really not talk about him, but 19 points on 5 for 14. He was all right. Got to the free throw line 8 times, made 7 of those, 2 for 7 from 3, 4 boards, 2 assists, 4 steals, 2 block shots, on the night. And Paul George, our player of the game.
So I will say that there was a positive from this game that I don't think people probably didn't want to hear, but now that we're in the third segment, we're going to talk a little bit about the year. In review, we can be a little more positive. How about Paul George and Joel Embiid? They tried 2 of the most audacious dunks I have seen from them in Sixers uniform. Paul George actually had it's a bummer because we probably would have led with this in the first segment if the Sixers had actually just taken care of business tonight. So he doubles who was it? I don't think it was Traore. It was one of their other
guys. Terrence Mann was one of them.
Tyrese Martin was the one that.
Okay, yeah, it was because he caught it from Martin. You're right.
Paul George is playing low man on a 2-3 zone, and he is so unworried about Traore that he basically doubles Tyrese Martin. I forget who the Sixers guard defender at the top of the zone was. Basically doubles him near half court, picks him off Martin tries to throw a pass, picks it off. Gets fouled, but the ref doesn't call it, so PG goes in for an easy dunk. Man, he went up for that dunk and cocked it back, and the whole bench was going crazy. Bona, Maxey, that was pretty impressive. And I gotta say, man, the way Joel was moving in the first half, some people might not like the play style or whatever. The dunk that he tried as well, which he actually got, I think
it was blocked.
It was blocked. The fact that he even tried that, though, was crazy. And it was one where the Nets actually, they challenged the call. I don't understand why that wasn't a foul. Like a guy, I think it was Claxton, puts his hand on Joel's chest. And yes, man got a clean block on the side.
Yes.
But the Sixers had just had a challenge where Tyrese Maxey grabs the elbow before MPJ extends the arm. It's like, man, when you grab a guy in the chest and stop his movement on a dunk, and that happens before the block, man, I don't know what these NBA refs are looking at in this review. Like it's been 3 years of this at this point with us. So it's just like, I don't know. Like we could do a greatest hits of, I don't know what
Right.
they're looking at. And man, I don't think you and I have podcasted since that Atlanta game a couple weeks ago. I mean, they just don't even know what a backcourt violation is anymore. Some of the conversation after that game was crazy, but the fact that Joel tried that was pretty good in my opinion. So I thought he and PG were looking good. PG took some bad shots, I thought, in the first half. Like we mentioned, the Joel ISO ball and, how do you balance that with Maxey? Paul George took some pretty bad contested shots in that first quarter where he sort of was he was alternating between amazing possession and pretty bad possession. It was a little bit of a roller coaster, but he did some good things on defense as well. So look, somebody had to win player of the game tonight. I think I probably would give it to Joel now that I think about it. But you know what? Considering the backlash we would have gotten in the chat for that, maybe getting Paul George for the official record is fair. But yeah, like that was interesting. Let me ask you one other thing when it comes to the game that stood out for me. What did you make of they went with Bona for like a long stretch they did it in the first half as well. We saw a little bit of Drum and Joel. We saw Bona and Joel in the first half, and Jabari Walker, who we think has been pretty good. He airballed 2 threes tonight. That wasn't great. So I kind of understand that, but they went with Bona in the fourth quarter and it just didn't really feel like it worked. I know there were limited options, but Bona getting to tech, fouling people, not really grabbing rebounds. I don't know. I'm not even saying, I don't know what the right answer was at that point, but they did try Embiid Bona in the front court. And it was something we talked about in the pregame. Didn't really work, but it's worth mentioning at least.
It was almost like since Walker wasn't playing well, Walker wasn't getting the extended minutes, wanted to try something else with another athletic front court player to go along with those two, Embiid and George, to replace the Dominic Barlow run that wasn't available tonight. And they went with Bona, and it just didn't work. And I thought Drummond was good enough to shot, as you point out. I mean, but he was still he was grabbing rebounds. Bona doesn't grab rebounds.
Yeah.
Drummond didn't get in foul trouble. Adem Bona, again, got into foul trouble. So you were right to bring this up in the pregame, and we mentioned more so Drummond than Bona. I was surprised that Bona got the most run next to Embiid than Drummond. Yeah, is it clunky? Absolutely. But, I mean, I feel like I trust Andre Drummond a little bit more than I do Adem Bona. I do. I get the athletic part, but I trust Drummond more.
Especially now that Drummond is actually making some corner threes. You know what this game needed, man? This game needed when everything was going Brooklyn's way. This game needed just a ridiculous Andre Drummond corner three out of nowhere, maybe 2, maybe maybe a bricking for chicken as well. Didn't happen. Sixers needed something to sort of spook the Nets, and it never happened. Yeah, I think I would go with Drummond if you're going to play that lineup, which I understand.
I agree.
Why Nurse? Look, he didn't have a lot of options. We talked about how Jabari Walker was the only 4 in tonight's game, and he didn't play that well. Like he had a turnover, he had a pick 6 in the first half, trying to drive and on nobody. That can't happen, Jabari Walker. Like, come on, man, you're a role player. You need to make the open threes and get boards and all those things. So he wasn't playing that well. But yeah, if you're gonna go with the double big, I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more Drummond. I just look, Embiid. I know that the rebounding numbers are actually a little better than the eye test would say with him, but I just like the idea of having Drum under the rim and the guy protecting the basket. So I mean Bona, like in theory, can be a shot blocker, and that's a decent fit with Joel. But yeah, I think I would have went with Drum. Now it's worth noting too that in all of those possessions, Joel was guarding the 4. Like he was guarding Danny Wolf. He was guarding Clowney. He was guarding some of the other players as well. I thought that was interesting. Like they sort of had him chasing on the perimeter. Again, it didn't really work, but it could be his game where we look back in a few weeks and maybe the Sixers have found something, that this is the game where they actually tripped on something and, nobody really cared in the moment because people were rightfully bummed out about the loss, but they did some goofy stuff on that end of the court. That's pretty much all I had from the game, though.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Last couple of minutes, man, before we really get too deep into overtime or anything, just your thoughts on 2025. Obviously, the two things that stand out: terrible season, the tank was in play, so that's one, and then it resulted in, of course, VJ Edgecombe. So just some things that really highlight the 2025 calendar year with the Sixers for you.
I think the Edgecombe pick, obviously, and it's really the whole Edgecombe arc. It's that we had to wear those tank helmets for 2 months, and everybody in the chat hated them, and we hated it. We didn't like it either. Got a little sweaty under those things. Did I care that I looked stupid for 2 months? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I'm willing to do that, and we did it. And it worked. The Sixers lucked out. They got the number 3 pick. I will always remember watching that live. Watching that live, putting it out there, everybody seeing our reaction and us just hoping for the Sixers to get their pick. And honestly, you see that Dallas and San Antonio both jump early on. The odds were terrible. Sixers get the pick. That did great numbers on Instagram. Our reaction, they got it.
Except for Derek sitting there like this.
Yeah, he really wanted Dylan Harper
flag or Harper bad.
But I think Derek has been, once he figured out his Wi-Fi, he looked up VJ Edgecombe film, and look, I think VJ has exceeded everybody's expectations. Both in the summer league, we saw something really cool from him. On draft night, we saw that, hey, this is a guy that we're gonna want to root for. Like, hard worker, great story, humble kid. And I know he didn't play tonight, but part of the reason that the Sixers lost tonight is that VJ Edgecombe didn't play. And the fact that we're at that point where they're a few games above 500, and we could say that this rookie, who was considered to be a little bit of a raw player, and he's going to have to work on his floor game, and he's going to have to sharpen some of his skills, which is still true, by the way, but is still that impactful of a player already. It's been an amazing arc. So yeah, man, I think the big thing I'm going to look at this year is the whole VJ Edgecombe arc. And the other thing I would say is that, especially in October, November, beginning of this month, Tyrese Maxey just put a smile on my face pretty much every single night. I know that it's a tough one tonight for him, that this is coming on, the heels of probably his worst game of the season. Doesn't take away him taking another step. Like you thought, man, it's impossible. There's no way he can get better again, right? He's already exceeded the expectations 3 or 4 times by taking a leap. Can he take a 5th leap? Answer is yes, he has, and he's been awesome. And so, because of those two guys in particular, we start at the beginning of this year. It's a disaster. The games are slogs. What are we talking about? After the post-game shows, after another 15 to 20 point loss to, all right, yeah, they played like crap tonight, but they really haven't played like crap a lot. And they have some exciting players on this team right now. So it's been a roller coaster of a year. It's been fun, but the Sixers, I think the nice thing for us is that as we enter 2026, they're in a better spot than they entered 2025 for sure.
Yeah. When they won their 16th game on Saturday, Rich, I looked back and it was late January when they won their 16th game a season ago. So yeah, it was late January of this calendar year that took them that long to get to the 16th game. We're already at December 23rd. And they have it. So we'll take it. We will take it. So we want to let everybody know that we are going to hit a little overtime here. Last home game overtime here on the PHLY Sixers post-game show of the calendar year. And we appreciate everybody on the television side. Happy holidays to you and Merry Christmas. And we'll see you for the next home game in 2026. Head on over to allphly.com for the remainder of the show. I agree with you. it's really about VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey. That's what it's been about. And for them to be 16-12 after 28 games, there are games that they lost that ticked us off. But there are games that, especially in those first 5, that they came back, that they should have lost, and they won. So the record is right where it's supposed to be, except for this one tonight. I think they should have won this one. But overall, this is where they're supposed to be, right around 5 games over 500, in the mix still for one of those spots in the Eastern Conference with so much runway ahead of them. And 5 guys out tonight that are rotational pieces, 3 of them that have started a lot of basketball games. And it's all about those 2 guys now going forward. The depth of this basketball team that they put together. Dominic Barlow, despite Walker's tough night tonight, he has been really good in a two-way role as well. That's 2025 started with the tank and the helmets and all the ridiculousness of it. But as soon as we got to March and that lottery came around, that's when things started to flip and it turned around, and we're seeing it right now. And hopefully VJ Edgecombe can continue to elevate his game in 2026. We see more of Embiid and George and Maxey, where this is their 3rd game, as Rich pointed out, everybody, together this season. And plenty of basketball still to be played. 54 games left to be played. And I imagine that we're going to hit double digits. I hope we're going to hit double digits of those 3 playing together with the rest of the group. So, hey, man, I'm looking forward to a lot of home games with you and some home playoff games that you and I will have an opportunity to talk about pre and post in 2026.
Hey, we're a third of the way through the season. Mm-hmm. If they continue to play like this for the next 2/3 of the season, we're going to get some playoff games. And,
yes, sir.
And I don't know what seed it'll be. Probably be somewhere between 4 and 7, somewhere in there.
Stay in there.
If we continue to get this level of basketball, let's take tonight out of it. I think we're going to have a fun next 2/3 of the season. We won't have to bring the tank helmets out. We'll just be wearing our hats, whatever we want to wear. And I think then we'll get playoff basketball. So I have been pretty entertained with this team so far this year. They get, it's funny, Derek and you did the great, it was Derek and Kyle.
Derek and Kyle did the great, and we did
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm giving the Sixers, like, if you just give the entire team and my expectations for the season so far, this is like a solid B+ so far. Like this, okay, if they were like a top 2 seed, then maybe you reserve the A for that. But like B+, A-, like I've been really enjoying this team, and they're going to play a lot of close games. They're going to frustrate you. There's going to be some tough moments, but they're in the mix, and they've been competitive most nights. And I expect them, if they keep this up, to just be in the mix all the way through April as well. So hopefully we get that. I think hopefully the fans get that too, after what a tough year it was last year. But despite tonight, reasonably encouraged by the way this thing is heading.
Yes, sir. Well said. All right, let's get ready to say goodnight to everybody. First, want to say happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everybody out there. We're off on Wednesday, so you won't see any of us until Friday. Friday, it will just be Derek and Kyle. Kyle will be back for the road game, the first game back from the Christmas break. So everybody make sure you tune in for the pre and post game show with Ethan producing, and Kyle and Derek will have things covered for you for the next game. I will be off. Rich will be off until the home games on the Sixers side. So Bulls, Sixers, 7:30. So a 7 o'clock pregame right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Rich, you got any Eagles things you have to do with the schedule coming up here over the next couple of,
I got to do Friday's show. Yeah.
We'll see. So everybody tune in.
We'll see how much sense I'm making the day after Christmas.
Tune in for Rich and at Buffalo's big game, important game coming up. Buffalo, Josh Allen didn't look all that great last weekend, and Birds could use another win with all the jockeying going on for positioning. We can talk positioning right now, Al, with the Eagles. They got to find the right spot right now in the NFC, certainly, so they can host some games and as things get going forward. So I'll be back on Sunday with the team, 3:30 OKC in Oklahoma City. I'll be back with the team on Sunday for the 3 o'clock pregame.
A word of advice to the Sixers: go get the one on Friday. Go Go get that one because you're probably not going to get the one on Sunday.
No, then follow it up with the Memphis game in Memphis. You can beat them too. Yes.
Let's start managing the schedule a little better.
Yep. Don't let another Spencer brother destroy you in Memphis on that Tuesday. All right. Let's get ready. It's the world famous. Time to say goodnight to everybody. The roll call on this Tuesday night. And we start off with our super chatter, Davon, a.k.a. Schoolboy Beats. What up, Davon? Thank you so much as always. We got PHLY guy, Lost Sleep TV, Vinny Pellegrini in the chat. What up, Vin? Philly
what up,
Reddick. Who else do we have? Val was in
Mello.
there. Mello, my man. Throw it up, Rich. X-Man in the chat. What up, X? We got to say 3 times 3257. Steelers fan, which stinks, but in the chat with us to talk Sixers quite a bit. We appreciate it. 3 times. Love the back and forth, the interactions. Good to see you. Reza in the chat as well. We also had Calvin.
Got Gene in there.
Music lover. Gene. What up, Gene? We also had in there, who else did we have in here?
We had Jazz in there. We had
Jazz. We had Art. Theo. Noob. What up, Noob?
We had Alden in there.
Alden in the chat. And there's quite a bit of people in here tonight. And
we had Reardon.
Kyle Wright. Reardon, yes. Forgot about Reardon. My bad. Kyle Wright in there. Doing SIGs. I love that.
That's Joaquin.
That's Joaquin with doing SIGs. Love that one as always. Reardon, you mentioned already. And so many. Nona. Thank you, Nona, as always. Happy holiday. Mello, my man. SB Cole. My mom was hanging out in the chat. I'll see mom in a couple of days, of course. And hopefully everybody can hang out with their family on Christmas and have a great one. Swan. Saw Swan in there as well. Rich P. Saw Rich. Rich made sure that, of course, the award is now the Dominic Barlow Award for the Unsung Hero. Video strategy sessions in the chat as well. Everybody, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. You hanging out with us here tonight. Derek Bodner's in there. Sixers Adams wants to make sure that he heard the two-way news, that, you heard the two-way news. Sixers Adam.
What's the two-way news?
Just updating the numbers that Adam puts together of counting how many games Barlow and Jabbar
gotcha.
left. So, yeah. Thank you, Adam. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. Appreciate the update. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to everybody. Ethan, thank you so much stepping in for Bree. We appreciate it, my man.
Wait, the news. The news is that this is from Sixers Adam, that Marjan Beauchamp.
Oh yeah, my bad. I saw that.
Is replacing. It looks like Hunter Salas.
Hunter Salas. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I had to interrupt because I wanted to make sure.
My bad.
That the two-way news got
that two-way news, not the other two-way news of the games, because I know Adam upstates the games played with those two. But yes, Marjan Beauchamp, who has been with the Delaware Bluecoats, he is being converted to a two-way. Shame. I like Hunter Salas, but stay with the Bluecoats.
We talked about the year of VJ, Marjan Beauchamp. He's back.
He's back. Noob says, game changer. Appreciate it, everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Ethan, again, thank you, my friend, for stepping in for Bree. And I know you'll be with us on Friday, but wanted to say thank you and Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you. Great job as always. And Rich, my man, happy holidays to you and the family, man. Merry Christmas.
You too, man.
It's always fun.
Too. You and Mom in the chat, because Mom's the only family member between the two of us that's in the chat. I guess I got some family members that don't participate as much.
They don't participate? Okay.
But she gets a special shout out for that reason.
So. Thank you. I appreciate it. But Merry Christmas to you and your family, man. Thank you. As always, we'll be back. The team will be back on Friday for the Sixers and Bulls, 7 o'clock pregame. Rich and I will be back for a home game in January. I'll be back on Sunday for the OKC game when the Sixers start their road trip with Chicago on Friday night. Have a great rest of your Tuesday night. Enjoy Christmas Eve, everybody. Be careful out there as you're trying to get those last-minute gift bags and tissue paper and tape and all that kind of stuff that you're running around trying to secure for those last-minute gifts and parties and all. Be careful out there. Enjoy your loved ones. We appreciate it. Much love to you all. We'll talk to you then right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.